Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. My name is Kris, and we're going to be talking about 6 ways you can make money with less than $100. Now, oftentimes on this YouTube channel, I'm talking about online arbitrage or wholesale for selling on Amazon, but I feel like I'm missing that group of people that have less than $100 to start. And I've been in that scenario before. Years ago when I first started, living paycheck to paycheck, I had $100 that I could spend and that's it. And how can I turn that $100 into more money? So this video is for someone in that scenario. Now, I do want to say that I'm breaking these down into cash-based and service-based. One meaning you have to take your cash to buy something to make more money, and the other is you're doing a service, you're selling your time. And any of these probably are scalable into other businesses, but the purpose of the way I'm advertising and bringing these to light to you guys, so you can use these to make cash to funnel into bigger business opportunities. So whether that's real estate or creating your own brand or building a solid cryptocurrency portfolio or stock portfolio, that's what these are going to be used for, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and break this down and start with method number 1, which is buying used goods and selling them on eBay. This is actually what I did to start, and you can do this by going to garage sales. You can go to auction houses. You can dumpster dive. You can go to thrift stores, put ads on Craigslist, and your ROI of whatever you're gonna buy can potentially be very, very high. You just have to figure out how to get whatever you wanna get. So for me, I started with video games because I knew about video games. So that's what I started with. And I ended up branching way outside of that. To give you an example, I went to an estate sale, it was several years ago, and I bought these statues or these antique wall statues, and I ended up selling them for $1,500 and I only paid 70 bucks for them. So I'm just saying that there is a lot of money to be made doing this. However, you are selling your time in a sense. It is not passive at all. It's a lot of grunt work. Now, this next one is one of my favorite methods, and that's buying from discounted websites and selling on either eBay or Amazon for a profit. Now, these discount websites are, I'll have them in the description below, but Amazon sellers who have their own brand. So what's happening here is that they're giving away their items next to free to boost themselves, and that's where you can come in and buy these items. Now, sometimes it does limit one per person, but other times it will not limit you. And I recommend selling these on eBay. It is kind of unethical to sell them on Amazon, but you can sell them on Amazon because you would have to get on that person's listing. I'm not going to really explain that, but yeah, just sell them on eBay and you can make $10, $15 per item. It depends on the item, but you can definitely make some solid money doing this. For a while, I was doing this to pay my bills, and however high you want to scale is up to you. Now, the next methods we're going to talk about are more service-based, meaning that they're not as capital intensive. You may have $100 and you may not need that $100 to start. So you're selling your time for money, just like a traditional job that you would go into. Now, the next one is putting gigs on Fiverr and Upwork and completing gigs and small jobs for people doing this. Now, I actually did this myself. I would have some personal training gigs. Basically, I would do people's meal plans. I would write up custom workouts, and it is time intensive, but you can definitely roll that into other business opportunities and just networking with people. So I actually was able to build some clients outside of Fiverr, which ended up making me pretty good money. The next thing you can do is drop shipping. There are people who use this business model to create whole business out of. I've done this a little bit, but I've not done it a whole lot. Basically, you either have a website or you're selling it on eBay or you're driving traffic to it somehow. Whoever buys the product that you're selling, you just use that money that they paid for your item and buy it from a cheaper source. So oftentimes people will sell something on eBay and they'll buy it on AliExpress and then send it to the buyer that way. This is very time intensive, and the profit margins, unless you're dealing with high ticket items, it seems like the profit margins aren't really there. For me anyways. Now, if you do create a third-party website, I've seen some great markups and people doing that. I just don't know enough about it. So, I recommend looking up drop shipping and I'm sure you'll find a slew of YouTube channels to start doing that. Now, the next two ways are probably the most unconventional ways on the list. However, I do believe that they are great for people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and they are flexible with your time. So the first one I'm going to mention is rover.com, and that is watching dogs or dog sitting or dog walking. And there are a bunch of different options, but I actually have one of my best friends, his girlfriend, does that and makes more money doing that part-time than she does at her full-time job. So it really is going to range area per area. So areas will be more expensive than others, and you'll probably have to mark your price down slightly at first just to build up some reviews. But once you build up reviews, then you can really start asking what everyone else is. And yeah, you can make some really great money doing this on the side. The last unconventional way I'm going to tell you to make money is by Uber or Lyft driving. And I'm sure, 90% of the people watching this have taken an Uber or a Lyft, and maybe it's crossed your mind. I've actually had some roommates who have done this before, and you really don't make that much money when you're just doing it normally. The times you make the money are on this, like the holiday hours when the demand's increased and then they increase your pay. That's when you can make some good money. Now, to give you guys a really quick story before I close out the video, I was located in Springfield, Illinois, which is the capital. So there were a bunch of politicians, and my roommate actually a couple of times ended up getting asked to drive privately. Now this is off the Uber clock, to drive that person up to the Chicago airport. They're like, we'll pay you $800. We'll pay you, $900. So for 6 hours, 7 hours worth of work, you can make some money doing that. And I've actually asked some Uber drivers before if they've ever had any instances like that, and they actually have had a couple. So that's where you can make some pretty solid money outside of the Uber, just to kind of get your foot in the door. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And, like I said, I wanted to make it for that person who is in that scenario where maybe they only have $100. So without further ado, I'll close the video and I'll see you guys in the next one.